We have over here coming up Yerach, a whole month of Yantif. It's very difficult. It's one of the most difficult months for kips. Besides for off time and people not being on a schedule, and besides for a lot of gefilte fish, there's a lot of guilt. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, what is going through a kip's mind? It's not true, but it's what goes through their mind is Hashem is spending the month, I'm the Rasha, and all the achetz and everything, and this is Judgment Day, and Hashem is going to look down at me, and Hashem is going to judge me. There's a lot of guilt, a lot of Jewish guilt, before Elul, and then Rosh Hashanah, and then the Seres Yimei Tshuva, and then Yom Kippur, and especially if they don't keep Yom Kippur, if they don't keep Rosh Hashanah, it's like even Reform people keep it, and they're not keeping it. It's a very difficult time. We are also full of anxiety facing Yom Hadin, or at least we should be. When it's not our most festive time, like Purim, we're a little bit more chilled than Yom Kippurim. It's difficult. And then there's a lot of Jewish stuff, and we're going shopping, and we're buying a sreigim, and we're buying lulav, and then building the sukkah, and there's a lot of stuff that bothers them. And there's a lot of, think about it, Shabbos is their hardest day, because everybody is Shabbos dick, and nobody has electronics out, so either they keep it in their room, or they do, or they feel different. Now we're going to have Shabbos, same thing as Shabbos, about 3 times a week. Right? There's going to be so much yantif. It's like days of holy days, 3 times a week, where they're uncomfortable being in this house. They want to, they would be more comfortable in a Goyish house, unfortunately. And it's very hard for them. Very, very hard. It's a tough month. So the first thing we have to know how to plan is it's a tough month. We should understand that it's a tough, tough month. Even Pesach is hard with the yantif. But this is twice as much yantif, and it's a whole month, and it's a lot of lachatz, Pesach, you have yachatz. Now we have lachatz. That's number 1. Number 2, we have to remember, going in, it's not business as usual. Meaning, we have a situation. We have a situation that requires us to focus on our kid in pain, especially if it's a kid on drugs, or cutting, or hurting themselves, or anything like that. We really have to realize it's not business as usual. I always daven in this minyan. Maybe not. Maybe not this year. I always go Yom Kippur there, and I always go Sukkot. Maybe not this year. It's not business as usual. If you're here in this room, your child is in crisis. Crisis is not business as usual. Your husband was told never to daven with minyan. I'm not telling you Rosh Hashanah what to do. You'll ask your Rav. But lav dafka doesn't mean you're going to go Gai to the Rebbe. Not necessarily this year. Rachmana litzlan le'aleinu. Imagine if chas v'shalom somebody has a child this year is going to be in NYU hospital over the month of Yantif. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's not going to be the same as last year. It's not business as usual. They might have to rent an apartment to be next to the hospital and walk up 10. Maybe they're going to hear a tekiah shtickle in the middle in the hallway. Some rabbi's going to come. Maybe they're going to have a suda. Maybe they're not going to have a suda. This year is crisis year. This year it's not, and you have to go into it with the right mindset. It's not, everything is the same except I have this kid who is in a crisis situation. No. We're dealing with crisis this year. And be'ezus Hashem, hashata hacha, l'shana haba b'nei chayrin, it'll be a different story. Fine, if it's a different story next year, you can go back to your old life. I wish all of you should be like that. But we go into this knowing this year it's about our kippur. Lav dafka, we're having company. If you invite company and it pushes the kid into their bedroom, you're not having company. Because this year you're running a hospital. This year you're running a psych ward, and this year you're running a trauma center, and this year you're running a rehab. You are the facility. That's the whole thing of TP. You could spend $120,000 if you want and send them to Utah and see how that works out for you, or $60,000 every month or 2 in a psych ward. We're beating those odds. But in order to do that, you're the doctor, you're the nurse, all the kids in the family are the nurses. Everybody's doing this together as a team. We have to save this neshama. Saving the neshama means the tools are the acceptance and not rejection. There's automatic rejection. Because Erev Shabbos, when everybody's showering, everybody's getting ready for Shabbos, they automatically feel, what am I doing in this house? We have to compensate for that. It's going to come Yom Kippur, Erev Yom Kippur with the meals. What are you going to do? You're going to have lunch? You're going to have breakfast? You're going to have food? You're going to serve? You're not going to serve? What's the matzav of the child? I was on the phone with probably one of the biggest Litvish Paiskim 2 years ago, Erev Yom Kippur. He told the parents, your child is, unfortunately, pikuach nefesh mamish. When he wakes up by day, Yom Kippur by day, you cook for him. You cook for him. That's the halacha. It's not a wow. The wow is that frum people don't know the halacha. It's like telling Hatzalah not to go on Shabbos. We had over here one of our parents over here in our group. He's a Hatzalah guy. Somebody bought him sicha for Ne'ilah for $5,000. And as he's walking over, the guy on the other side of the shul had a heart attack. You're not allowed to even think for 1 second. So he wanted to spend an hour of Ne'ilah in front of the Aron Kodesh, and instead he spent an hour of Ne'ilah breaking every halacha. He punctured and he drove, he took blood, he saved the guy's life. Because that's Ratzon Hashem. And we have so many ma'asos of tzaddikim, from the Alter Rebbe to Reb Aaron Kotler to the Ger Rebbe, the Beis Yisrael. Ein kama koimah to tell the stories, you all know them. But Ratzon Hashem, what's Ratzon Hashem? What's Ratzon Hashem? That's what we're thinking. And this year it's different. Are you going to have lunch prepared? You're not allowed to have lunch. You have to speak to your Rabbanim beforehand. You have to make sure you don't go against the Torah at all, and you have to make sure that you follow the Torah to save your kid's life. So there's automatically going to be rejection in the air. We're busy with Yontif, we're buying Lulav and Esrogim, we're sidetracked, it's festive, and they feel, when someone is depressed, it hurts them that everybody's so happy around them. You have to remember, in your house, we talk low and slow. Not slow like slow. Just relax. You're dealing with a chayla. You're dealing with people who are depressed. Some of them are suicidal. Some of them just all different types of chayla nefesh. It's not business as usual. You might have to, this year, pay somebody to get you your lulav and esrog for you instead of picking it out yourself. You might have to do a trip before Yom Kippur for 2 days. You have to think about, we look at it honestly, you're running a facility. The third part is, let's use this for our advantage. Anyway, there's hardly any work happening, and many people don't work Cholamoid anyway. Anyway, you have 2 weeks, 3 weeks with all the Shabbos and Yontif. What would happen if we use this time to make this a Geschmacka event for our Kipp? Where can we go that without our Kipp would be like, wow, maybe we should rent a cabin in Pennsylvania. Maybe we should fly to Ohio. Maybe we should go to LA or Miami. It could be an expensive trip. It could be a cheap trip, just changing locations. What would happen if we did something when we built our own sukkah or we had a pop-up sukkah or whatever it is, and use this opportunity to get out of local, depressing house with everybody staring at them when they walk outside, and something fresh and something different and something new. And maybe you should invite some of the siblings and the marrieds, or maybe you shouldn't if they don't like them, or maybe it'll be okay. Maybe we'll have 2 weeks of family time for not much more than the regular budget of Yontif anyway. And maybe it'll be something amazing. Maybe we'll save on some of the food, we'll barbecue more, maybe we'll have son-in-laws or the brothers come and build. Maybe. The whole world is open to you. So look at it like, first of all, number one, acknowledge and realize we're going into a difficult time. Number two is to realize that it's not business as usual, and we have to make sure to make up for the rejection that they feel and the guilt and the depression and all of that. And the third thing is, what could you do to create a schedule that's going to blow their mind, it's going to be great for them. Whether they like relaxing, it could be relaxing. Whether they like walking, it's a beautiful time of year to do hikes. Whether they like being in the sun. People drove from here 10 hours to Hilton Head. Where's that, South Carolina? They said it's Miami weather. The place was stunning. Maybe do an Airbnb, rent a house for $100 a night, 5-bedroom house you could probably get over there. I don't know prices, but something like that. Maybe you drive over there. You just did it. It's beautiful. Maybe head out to there. First of all, wherever you go, I guarantee you within 5 minutes you're going to find a Chabad house anyway. If not, open one up. You found the one spot on earth that's missing a location. So you'll open it up. You put in the flag of Chabad and you're done, right? You'll find the Chabad and you will or you won't. We had families of Pikuach Nefesh that the Rav told them, so you don't daven with minyan. So you don't daven sukkahs with minyan. There was one father, they went to California to save their kid. He went in for treatment to a therapist, and they were last year Simchas Torah, and he was thinking, he told his Rav, I'm not going to dance with the Torah on Simchas Torah. And the Rav told him, your son is Pikuach Nefesh. You have a chelik elokam imal mamish. And he danced with his son. He went to a hotel, or it was both, a hotel and a house, different parts, and Simchas Torah, he told his son, today's Simchas Torah, but I didn't go to shul, not in a guilty way. It was the kid was okay. He was happy that he went with him, walked to the therapist and whatever. He said, let's have a dance. And he danced with his Sefer Torah. How beautiful. So think about Ratzon Hashem. And Ratzon Hashem doesn't always feel like we want it to feel. Sometimes Ratzon Hashem comes in different sizes. I remember Rabbi Yaman Eisenberger was telling once in a shir how he was personally preparing for Rosh Hashanah davening. He said he put in an Elul, and he was, the week before Rosh Hashanah, he was really working on himself. He really was hoping to daven and to really have an amazing davening. And he ended up in the hospital on Rosh Hashanah. He said, what was my Rosh Hashanah davening like? On one foot, Shemona Esrei, with nurses and beeping and things and whatever. He said, that's what Hashem wanted from me. It didn't feel good. For me, I'd rather daven 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. Rosh Hashanah davening feels good. You leave there, you feel good. Over here, 5-minute davening, you don't feel so good. But you can payalais and tuaif and accomplish when you do the Ratzon Hashem. Hashem is sending me to the hospital, Rahman al-Itzlan. I'll do the best that I can in that situation. Of course, it's not the same. But we get schar based on effort, not based on what it looks like on the outside. And someone davening for 5 minutes in a hospital could equal someone davening in shul for 6 hours. That's what our job is. So we have to realize we have a situation. We want to save lives, physically, emotionally, psychiatrically, spiritually. We want to give our kids the best life that we have. We have 2, 3, 4 weeks of difficult times. Maybe we can do a 2-3 week vacation. Maybe you can work not at home. Maybe you can travel just for 6 days, 3 days. Figure out what can we do and how are we going to hook in the kid to want to do this and give them a chance to break free from the normal stuff. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference because after the difficult month comes the other part of the difficult year called winter. There are 4 difficult parts of the year for kids. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. I want you now, between now and Rosh Hashanah, you have still time. Build up credit. Have fun. It's still summer. It's still summery outside. Think about what fun you could have and family fun as much as you can. So as the Yontif starts, we have credit in the bank. So we'll have memories, we'll have pictures, we'll have memory bombs being dropped. Do as much as you can. Now's a great time to really focus on TP big time. And then comes difficult where it's a little bit harder. And then you'll try hopefully to do some trips, and then we'll talk about winter. A lot of kids do bad in the winter, but we also have a lot of benefits to the winter. A lot of kids have a good winter also under our care. Okay.